We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. We've got a great episode this week. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notifications bell, and be sure to like, comment, and share if you like this episode. And we'll get into this week's sponsor and show. This week's episode is sponsored by CityVest. CityVest has quickly become the most popular and best way for doctors to invest in top-performing real estate private equity funds that are usually reserved for institutional investors. This unique access to investing in these institutional funds is available for the first time ever through CityVest's easy and secure online investment platform. CityVest does the hard work of conducting due diligence and vetting the investments. They even get a third-party due diligence report that is posted on their website. As a result of aggregating a several $million investment amount into their access funds, CityVest gains access to investing in the institutional investment and is able to negotiate better investment terms such as a 12% preferred return. You can check them out at cityvest.com or go to the link in the show notes below. Now on to the show. Before we begin today's content, here is a quick disclaimer. The information and material presented here is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. The content is not a recommendation to buy or to sell. Some of the content may be for accredited investors only or may be sponsored posts. Every investment carries risks. Results have not been verified. So carefully weigh those risks against your investment goals and objectives and see if acting on the information matches with your investment thesis. Do your due diligence prior to investing, and as always, do not invest more than you can afford to lose. So welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, we tout 4 types of freedom: financial, location, time, emotional freedom. And I've brought in my scope to include entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and trying to get the word out, empower people to achieve freedom earlier so they can live life on their own terms. So today we have Christina Hooper, and she specializes in helping entrepreneurs turn their superpowers into sales. So today we're going to be talking about digital marketing, building a story brand, building a scalable business, and I'll let Christina take it out from here. So Christina, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And I've read through your bio and it's very impressive. And, just to give the listeners a brief introduction, tell people about who you are, how you came to be, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest focus is helping people build a business that enables their lifestyle instead of taking over their life, which is, really jives with what you're trying to do too. So I think that's cool. But yeah, it's just, there's so many things that people get into that overwhelm them. So they're usually selling like the wrong products or the wrong services to the wrong people, or trying to do too much and not building a team. And, there's just so many different ways you can head the wrong direction. I know, because I've probably done most of them and had to figure it out the hard way and turn back around and fix it. I'm a Business Made Simple certified coach, a story brand certified guide, and a digital marketer certified partner. So I constantly just look for knowledge, look for experts, look for people that help you break down different blockers to your growth,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what brought you in? How did you get into the space? What inspired you to start helping people and, get into the business realms?
My grandpa was an entrepreneur. He had like the local, grocery store in a tiny little town. So I got to see him be that pillar of the community and constantly helping people. So that was really inspirational. And I did the normal thing. I went to college, did what you're supposed to do, got the job in the cubicle, and did the path you're supposed to go. But while I was sitting in the cubicle, I'm looking at other people that the company's trying to push out the door because they're too old. They've been there for like 40, 50 years. They helped build the company. They were some of the first ones to do the job. And it's like they're wanting to retire them early because they're not catching up fast enough. And I'm like, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to give them 40 years of my life just to be put out to pasture earlier than I'm ready when I'm still useful. Like, that's not cool. So I made the leap, kind of did it as a side hustle, like most of us do, and turned it into a full-time thing.
Excellent, excellent. So one thing we talk about on this show is really freedom, and tell us why tell us what a story brand is, and tell us why people in today's age need to have a strong story brand.
And a story brand is something that was created by Donald Miller. He's got a book, Building a Story Brand, Marketing Made Simple, Hero on a Mission. So he's got several books. They're all good. It's worth reading. Story brand certified guides are people that help you like clarify your branding and messaging. And the reason that's important is because most of the time when you ask someone what they do, and if you listen to podcasts all the time, you'll see this over and over again, they stumble on it. It's not very clear what they do. They can't articulate it in a sentence or two. It's like, oh, well, I help people build websites and build landing pages and write better copy for their blog articles and write better copy for their website pages and for their social profiles and for the, like, I could go on and on with the list of all the things that help people do. And that's what most people sit there and do. So building a story brand says like, okay, you're not the hero in this story, your client is. So you have a person that you're trying to reach that has a problem, and you're going to give them a solution that's going to help them change something. You're going to call them to action and change something in their life. But you're Yoda, you're Dumbledore. You're not Harry Potter. Your client is Harry Potter. They're stumbling, they're confused, they're making mistakes, they're having the whole world thrust on them, they're trying to figure it out. And it's like, how do you come into their life as their Dumbledore? How do you introduce yourself, explain your value, and lead them in the right way? So that's kind of what story brand's all about, is clarifying your messaging.
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting. So, in today's economy, everybody's their own employer, and everybody's out. We're the freelancers, gigs. People are quitting their jobs left and right. And what does a brand mean to you? And explain to people why you need, if you're going to be like an influencer or thought leader, why you need why you need a brand.
A brand is the warm fuzzies. So it's not what you do, it's how you make people feel. So when you're putting your brand together and somebody's reading your copy or looking at your website or engaging with you in some way, it's how you make them feel. Like, I know this podcast is just going to be audio only, so you can't, look my name up, look up ChristinaHooper.com and go look at a picture of me. I have bright blue hair. I have a cape in my background. Like, when you get on a call with me, you're going to feel a certain sort of way right off the bat. Like, I feel approachable. People kind of relax just because my hair is bright blue. So that's part of my brand. If I were to go back to brown hair, I wouldn't look nowhere near as fun. So stuff like that's how you make people feel when they engage with different parts of your marketing, different parts of your messaging, different parts of what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the reason why brands such as Apple, Nike, Starbucks, all of these, they have very strong brands and create large followings, and that's how they're able to build a sustainable competitive edge in today's economy.
Yeah, it actually makes it easier on you as a business owner too, like to build a really strong brand, because you're not having to be as perfect. Like, it's okay if I stumble on some of my words. I don't have to refilm a video. If I'm making a quick little video for TikTok or something like that, I don't have to refilm it because I stumbled, because that's me. I am normal. I am human. The more relatable I am, the more likable I'm going to be. So you actually get permission to not be so perfect. You don't have to overproduce. You don't have to re-record. You can have typos. Your grammar doesn't have to be perfect. You can use whatever words make sense to you. If you need to use who's-y, what's-its as a word, use who's-y, what's-its as a word. It's fine. It's cool. So it's actually easier and takes some of the stress off, and it works better, which I think is the best part.
Now let's transition into so we've created a really strong brand. We have a really strong story, and how do we turn that superpower, all of that social capital or brand recognition into sales?
So you really have to start building an army of raving fans. Like 80% of the people in your space may never buy from you, and that's okay. If they're following you on TikTok, if they're following you on YouTube, if they're subscribed to your newsletter, they may never be able to afford you, but they might want to. It might be 5 years. That's fine, but they'll refer other people to you. So really think about every interaction as a chance to create a raving fan, even if they don't get on your email list, even if they don't follow you, even if all they do is watch a 60-second TikTok video that you put out in the world. How are you going to use your 60 seconds to create a raving fan? Because that is what creates intentional word of mouth marketing. That's what makes it actually happen instead of just like hoping people will refer you and kind of like growing your business on hopes and prayers that other people will do it for you. Just not great. And then you have to create a path that's easy. So they need to understand. So it's like every little thing that I put out there, what is the logical next step that someone can take? Like, I'm not going to waste their time with an ebook on 5 things about whatever. Like, let's send them over to a quiz that's going to be like, here, answer a few questions. I'm going to give you some very specific advice at the end of the quiz. Like, make it very useful, make it very helpful. How is that advice going to change their life? Instead of sending them to an ebook, send them to a checklist, a resource that they can use, that they can print, that's going to impact their life and, give them value. And then from there, you can say like, hey, you use this checklist. Is it working for you as well as it should? Would you like to get on a call with me? And let's talk about your particular use case. Maybe it's like a checklist on how to like fix your website homepage or something, for example. I know that you downloaded that checklist because you needed help fixing your website homepage. So if I offer to audit it for you and send you a Loom video, you're probably going to take me up on that. And now I've had a chance to have a conversation with you and then like, hey, I identified like 5 things you could fix. Would you like me to fix those for you? Now you've turned it into a sale and you've done it while being helpful and logical with every next step.
Yeah, it's all about a process, and then it's all about chain creating leverage and creating taking your capital, what you have socially and through your community and through your brand, and then creating ways of offering value to your following and your community. We hope you don't mind this brief interruption from one of our affiliates. Today's affiliate is studentloanadvice.com. Studentloanadvice.com is a company powered by the White Coat Investor that specializes in helping professional students such as doctors, dentists, and other healthcare professionals navigate the complex and oftentimes confusing student loan landscape. They offer a consultation as well as services to help you save money when consolidating and paying back your student loans through their different options. You can go to their website, studentloanadvice.com/FFFP. That's again, studentloanadvice.com/FFFP to find out more, get signed up on their email list, or schedule a call with Andrew Paulson. Now back to our show. Let's next talk about, we built a strong story brand, the next thing is you talk about community and raving fans. So tell us the more importance of having community and raving fans, and how does one start about assuming, someone just starting from scratch don't have a following or anything.
And the biggest thing you can do is just to start putting out content, start answering questions. So if you have like no following whatsoever, get on TikTok, get on YouTube, get on Facebook, and start just creating content. Start putting out videos, start putting out blog articles, start doing everything you can to answer questions that people have and to solve problems. And don't just be on a soapbox, like actually think about how to solve a problem. How do we take someone from like level 2 problem and like move them to like 2.5 towards a solution? Maybe we're not going to go from 2 to 10 and solve it completely, but we've moved it forward. And like every piece of content you put out should continue to move them forward. And don't be afraid to give away specifics, because odds are they can't do it all themselves. And if they can hire you, they will. So you keep doing that. So as you do that, you're making opportunities for people to connect, and always make the ask for the next step. Like, hey, if you found this valuable, if I helped you, smash subscribe or hit follow, or go to my profile, click the link, get on my email newsletter, go join my Facebook group, go collect them in somewhere where you have permission to continue talking to them and keep making the ask. And once you have your community of raving fans, you can monetize them in so many different ways. So obviously you can promote your offers. Those are cool. But you can also do referral arrangements where people will refer stuff into you and refer clients to you, and you'll like give them a little bit of a kickback that way. So that's one way to do it. You can run word of mouth promotions where you can ask them to invite people to something that you're doing. Maybe you're doing a workshop or a webinar. Use your audience of raving fans to bring more people to a webinar where they can become more raving fans and grow your audience that way. You can co-create content together. That's another great one to do. Like, reach into your audience and say like, hey, here's somebody that I think will be a really great client, but they haven't raised their hand yet, and I want to like get in touch with them. I'm not really sure how. Hey, I would love to interview you on my podcast, or I would love to interview you on and help create a blog article that I want to put out around this topic and just explain your experience. Or there's so many different ways to take advantage of your audience and turn that into revenue once you get that audience built up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a different mindset, and it's a different concept, because in the past, they were talking all about funnels. And so how is creating a community of raving fans different from, the traditional way of thinking about funnels?
It kind of overlaps. So basically a funnel is just, how are we going to take someone from like A to B to C to D and all the way to Z? Like, what are the steps? And that's all a funnel is. And a big business, a successful business, is going to have hundreds, because every little one is a step, right? So you just kind of have to start somewhere. What's the service that you want to sell? And then back it up to, how do you create raving fans that would want to buy that service? Like, say you're a website developer, because that's an easy one to explain, right? So you build websites for people and you want to sell building websites for people. That's your thing. So how can we back up into that? Well, if I do a website audit for somebody and I can tell them what's wrong with their site and I get a chance to talk to them about it, I'm more likely to make it sell. Okay, well, there's, up your funnel a step. I'm going to do an audit. Okay, well, how do I get someone interested in doing an audit? Well, they're only going to want someone to do an audit for them that they trust, that they think is going to be able to, actually give them value. Like, how do I make myself trustworthy enough to do that? Okay, well, let me give them something that will help. Let me give them a checklist, or invite them to a webinar where we're going to talk about like website best practices and how you can improve it. Maybe we'll hot seat a few people and like go through their websites there. Like, okay, how do I get people interested in spending time with me on a workshop? Well, I have to deliver value first. Why would they come to a workshop that I'm teaching if they don't think that I can help them again? So like, well, now I'm going to put out blog articles and videos, and I'm going to break down like what it takes to make a good website and give you some different examples and scenarios. And so now we're back to the content and getting the raving fans. So it's all part of it. It's all a funnel, and people are going to kind of come in and out. Like, I've seen people like try and break the traditional funnel thing and like turn it into cyclones and CVJs, and like there's so many different ways to map out a funnel. I think the biggest thing is to be intentional. I want to sell this. How do I put someone on a path to buy it? And just whatever you diagram that out is, like, maybe for you that diagram looks like an actual little map with little X's here. However you diagram it, funnels, maps, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The point is to get from A to Z, and to understand very clearly what those steps are and how you're going to convince someone to keep moving.
Yeah. Yes. So very important. And, in these days and age, it's really interesting because in the past, your community was in person. It was like through masterminds or groups. And now, in this new age or era that we're in, everything is online. So you can do it through Facebook groups or Zoom. So what are some principles and strategies that you use to earn trust online?
Show up and be a helpful human. I can't tell you how many, like, I am in masterminds that I pay like $20K a year for, $10K a year for. And I cannot tell you how many meetings that I go to in those masterminds where half or more have their cameras off and never unmute their mic. And it's like, nobody's ever going to trust you, refer business to you, understand what you do, or even hire you or anything if they've never seen your face? Like, why are you even there? So like, you might as well go do whatever it is you're doing and just not even show up, because you're not getting the real value out of it. Most of these like programs and things that we buy, that we participate in, that we group together with other humans on, the value isn't the thing we bought. It's the people that we're in the room with. It's getting to know the person that's doing the presentation. Like, I mean, I show up with bright blue hair and I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of other people on a Zoom screen, and I get called out almost every time because they remember me, because my camera is on, because I am talking, because I'm participating in the conversation. It terrified me. And like one lady I interviewed on my podcast said, feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, it's really intimidating to come off and to share thoughts and to ask questions and to be vulnerable and feel stupid. But like the relationships that you're going to build, you know, I mean, it's like the equivalent of the in-person networking things where you can't hide in the corner. You have to come in and you have to shake hands and you have to participate. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, whatever it is, whether it's a mastermind, it's a course that you bought, it's a workshop that you bought, it's a whatever, is just to participate. Facebook groups, go answer people's questions, go ask questions. You know, like one of the craziest ways to promote yourself is to share like a thing that you built. Like maybe you've got a new service or a webinar that you're doing. Share the landing page and ask for feedback. Like, A, you're going to get really good feedback, which is cool. But like, B, everybody who looked at it is going to like be like, oh, that's what you do. That's cool. You know, and they'll either maybe be clients or know people who could be clients. Like, not everybody's going to buy from you, but they might know someone who would. So you still want to build that relationship.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is, you know, the first part is, like you said, showing up and, you know, being authentic, you know, sharing your story, vulnerability, carrying through, doing what you say you're going to do. And you know, like trust is built up slowly over time, and, you know, it can be quickly, destroyed just in a single second. So it's very important in, you know, today's age to, you know, online to, you know, do what you say you're going to do.
Like, I feel like, you know, trust, is built up over time, but clarity is too. Like, if you think about the different people that you're in networking groups and stuff with, most of them don't know what you do. You don't know what they do. So it's like clarity is like so important as you're, you know, showing up interaction over interaction over interaction. People get a bigger and bigger understanding of what it is that you actually do, who you help, how you help. And so you're opening up the ability for them to become a raving fan, to become a customer, to refer a customer, not just through building trust, but also through building clarity so they understand what it is that you actually can help with.
Yeah, definitely. This has been a very interesting conversation, and I know, you know, a lot of people, you know, especially in today's, you know, social media age, digital marketing, and people may be interested in learning more about you, you know, seeing examples of your work, or, you know, maybe even working with you. So how can people, you know, get in contact with you and, you know, start maybe possibly work with you?
Well, the easiest way is to go to my website, go to ChristinaHooper.com. And then I also have a free quiz that you can take. Remember how I said quizzes are a great way to add value and to actually help, you know, give prescriptive solutions. So you can go to ChristinaHooper.com/quiz and go take that completely free quiz. Lots of cool stuff happening in there.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and thanks so much. And we really enjoyed our time on the podcast. All of Christina's resources will be in the show notes, and you know, we hope to have you as a future guest to see, you know, your progress and hear more about your successes.
What a fantastic show. I hope you enjoyed our very special guest. Just remember, as a shout out to our this week's sponsor, cityvest.com. CityVest gives you access to the best real estate private equity funds with enhanced investment terms, verified due diligence, and lower risk. You can check them out at cityvest.com or click on the link in the show notes below to hear about their upcoming investment offerings. If you enjoyed that episode, don't forget, that's just the free content. We also have paid premium content subscription with better guests, information, updates, and discussions that can't be accessed anywhere else. You can subscribe to our premium content by clicking on the link in the show notes below to subscribe. Just a quick note, members who sign up for the bottom floor price introductory the first year will be grandfathered into that price for life. I expect the monthly subscription amount to increase quickly next year and the year after, so don't delay. I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislumdphd.com for more support. I'll see you next week.